Bitcoin currently trading lower, but holding above the $80,000 mark right now. The cryptocurrency recovering a bit of ground after its multi-day decline, off nearly 25% from a January all-time high. We're going to toss it on over to Brian Sozzi, who's over at Bitcoin Investor Week in Manhattan. Hey, Soz.
All right, thanks so much, Brad. Yeah, it's getting pretty noisy here at the Bitcoin Investor Week conference in New York City. Mike Cagney here with us, Figure Markets founder and CEO. Good to see you, Mike. I understand big news out of your firm yesterday. Before we get to that, Brad mentioned a real, we're seeing a sell-off in Bitcoin prices. Pretty significant. How severe do you think it can get?
Look, I think it's a natural course of the market, really finding where the near-term equilibrium is. I don't put too much stake in terms of what's happened. It's just typical Bitcoin volatility. So the fundamentals, if you look at what's been headwinds to Bitcoin for the last 4 years becoming tailwinds, it's a pretty constructive backdrop, irrespective of what's happened over the last couple of days.
For folks not familiar with your background, you built SoFi, now you're building something else, another marketplace at Figure. What does this moment feel like to you? I mean, does it feel like it's gotten more serious in the crypto sphere?
Yeah, look, I think we're at a tipping point, in particular where we're going to see a lot of TradFi move into blockchain finally. And I always comment, the blockchain space never loses an opportunity to shoot itself in the foot. And we had the hack last weekend, we had Libra the weekend before that. But the reality is there's a lot of people building real solutions on blockchain that have real economic value and benefit. I think with a lot of regulatory clarity that's going to come through this year, you're going to see a lot of traditional entrants, especially within the bank and financial services sector, come into blockchain in a serious way, and it's supportive for the whole ecosystem.
When you saw that Bybit hack, what did you first do and what did you first think?
Look, we run our exchange, we run decentralized MPC wallet. I think anytime you rely on a centralized custodian structure, you run this risk. And it's always surprising to me after FTX, people are still sending their coins onto the exchange. And the reality is, sort of the ultimate paradox, blockchain's about decentralization. So the fact that crypto's trading on these centralized constructs doesn't make a ton of sense. So I think it's really, as anyone who holds a coin on blockchain, self-custody, decentralized custody, not centralized custody.
Talk to us about the news out of your firm yesterday.
So yesterday we announced that we stood up a permanent capital guarantor for our blockchain ecosystem. So we've been originating loans on blockchain since 2018. We've done about $43 billion of loan transactions on Provenance blockchain, which is the level 1 that we use on the back end. But the ultimate goal was to get to a point where we could create an ecosystem that looked like Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac, that had a permanent capital guarantor that provided the ability for originators to lock in both their price and liquidity on their mortgage production. And so we took $200 million in from 6th Street to stand this guarantor up to help facilitate liquidity within this ecosystem.
I see Robinhood's public, Coinbase is public. When are you public?
I'm not allowed to say. So look, I'm very eager for Figure to be public. So that's all I can talk to.
Is the market that big to support all these exchanges?
So I think you're going to see some real consolidation. I think most exchanges are subscale, and I think also what will happen with some of the regulatory clarity, I think the two things the administration's trying to get by the August recess is stablecoin legislation and market structure legislation. I think that market structure legislation is going to have, the ICEs and the NASDAQs of the world leaning in and trying to build a more national construct for crypto trading versus the bespoke structure that we have today. But it'll still be a centralized structure, which I'm not a huge fan of.
I want to see where you stand. So Vlad Tenev, I talked to him earlier in the week. He says no Bitcoin reserve this year. Talked to Anthony Pompliano earlier today. He thinks we get one this year. What say you?
I think it's going to be a tough one for the government to do, and I certainly think the price action of the last week hasn't helped the case.
And just to be clear, I mean, you don't think we're headed towards another crypto winter?
No,
that's not what this is.
Not at all. I think such different fundamentals. So you look at what happened in 22 with the bankruptcies and really just with a loss of faith within the crypto community. That's not what's happening right now. I think people are very bullish, they're very leaning in. I think, as I said, the developments that we're going to see on public blockchain over the next 12 to 24 months will blow people's minds. Think about how much has been accomplished and how much has been built in the last 4 years when it was nearly impossible to do anything on blockchain. The next 4 years, you're going to see real innovation, real transformation.
Well, good to catch back up with you, Mike Cagney, Figure Markets founder and CEO. It's busy in here. I mean, it feels like a real conference. Mike, good to see you.
Good to see you.